Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie and I live in Utah Zone 6/7, and I've been doing YouTube videos about gardening content since about 2019, and I wanted to resurrect something that I did my very first year, and that is to start having a plant of the week video. And so this is going to be my first one, and I think most of the plants that I want to cover for this year are going to be herbs. Now I grow probably between 30 and 35 different varieties of herbs in my yard. Like I said, I live in Utah Zone 6/7. We have cold winters and then we have very warm summers, but our growing season is quite short. So I wanted to let you know what kind of herbs will grow well in those situations. And honestly, a lot of the herbs that I'm going to cover will grow well in almost any zone that we talk about. Now I wanted to start with an herb that I have not talked about in the past, and that is chervil. Now I've kind of ignored chervil. I've grown it since 2009 in my yard. I actually planted it in 2009, and that's the only time I ever planted it. And I want to show you where it's been growing, what it looks like now, and talk to you a little bit about how you can grow chervil in your yard. So this is my backyard. We've got a lot of different things growing. We've got a lot of different herbs. This is May, middle of May, 2004, and we're just barely coming out of the cold of winter. A lot of things have started growing. But let me show you something that has been growing the entire winter. Now this is under my deck. Pardon the unstained deck, that's one thing that I need to do. But under my deck every single year, usually in the spring, this year it was a little different, they planted themselves in the fall, I have little chervil plants come up. These are the flowers. This is an annual. It flowers and sets seed during the cooler parts of the year. Now usually I have new plants start in the spring, and these are my new little plants that have actually started this spring. They're not going to make it very long. They're not going to make it to the point of flowering because these started a little bit too late this year, but these planted themselves last fall, and they stayed evergreen over the winter, and now they're flowering. They're going to set seed, and then I'm going to let this amount right here set seed and grow for next year. Now this chervil actually has decided to spread itself, and let me show you a video I took earlier of how far it spread. It's a very hardy plant. It can take quite cool weather. The only thing it doesn't stand up to is the heat of the summer, but that's okay because it lives its full life cycle right during the coolest parts of the year, either in the fall or in the spring. Now its leaves have a licorice scent to it. These do look an awful lot like poison hemlock and things like that. They look like they belong to the carrot family. But the way that you know it's chervil is it does not have the red spots on the stems. It's got a smooth stem, and the leaves are just a little bit different than poison hemlock. I know this is chervil because I actually planted it and it has grown in the same spot year after year. Now they do, like I said, have an anise scent. And now let's talk a little bit about some of the uses. Now once again, before we get into how chervil tastes and the uses of it, I wanted to go a little bit more in detail on how to grow them. Number one, they need a shady location. The area that they're growing in where I have them now is pretty much full shade most of the day. May get a little bit of morning sun, but it can grow in full shade. And they definitely need moisture. That's what makes them perfect for the area that they're growing in. We get a lot of moisture in the fall and we get a lot of moisture in the spring. So the seeds that fall to the ground pop up themselves. I don't ever plant it. They just come up on their own. And then they grow and do their life cycle all by themselves without any extra fertilizer, as long as it stays wet. And that's all they need. You saw the gravel that they're growing in, so they're not really fussy about the growing conditions. They'll grow in rich, moist soil. They'll grow in moist, poor soil. They're just an easy plant to grow. But like I said, they finish out their life cycle pretty quickly, so plan on using them and harvesting them for that part of the year. Now, this is a chervil leaf. It has the flavor of anise. I also grow anise hyssop, and it tastes a lot like anise. It smells like anise, but it's a lot more mild. And then it also has kind of a grassy overtone. Now, from what I've read, chervil's best use is in béarnaise sauce and using them in lettuce with fish, anywhere you would use an anise flavor. So I use them in salads. I don't make béarnaise sauce, so I couldn't tell you how well it goes in there. But I really do like them in salads. It just adds a nice anisey flavor to it. They don't have the same sweetness that anise hyssop has, so it does have a little bit of a different use. Now I'd love to hear where you are and if you grow chervil and what you use it for. The last thing I want to say is I'm not going to go over any medicinal uses because I'm not an herbalist and I'm not a physician, so I'm not confident enough to tell you what to use them medicinally for. And I would also like to urge, if you are going to use something medicinally, to talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. Don't just follow YouTube advice, because you never know if you're going to accidentally take something that is not good for you. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.